Two buttons
What?
pushed.
Gary likes to eat.
We good?
Something to catch.
All right, let's go ahead and call, budget workshop meeting order, July 2024 by St. Louis Budget Workshop convening. Today we're talking about the, 2025 payroll, proposed by the administration. Mr. Hoffman, Mr. Reed, Salvo, Mr. Noblock, Councilman Seal are present. Would y'all like to, and Mr. Lewis is on the phone. I'd like to present the recommendations, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Riso.
Before we get started, what are the projections from Jimmy's office as far as evaluation of mill, how much we're expected to collect this year? I mean, we're doing a budget now without knowing where we're going.
We're looking at probably about a 7,000, with 181 this year, I think. Probably gonna be about 187, 188 increase.
From
So probably about 170,000, something like that,
a mill?
total. Yeah, wait. Yeah, increase per mill, and it'd be a total of somewhere probably about 160, 170,000 a year.
You said 181 to 187.
181 to 187?
Yeah.
Correct.
And what he's saying is.
We'll take 98% of his number and then pass it on into the budget.
So 100 and.
His number was 191. So it's saying
191 or 187?
we were 181 currently.
He gives.
He
yeah.
said 191, and then we used like 98%. So that dropped down.
Well,
to
Mayor said
187.
170 just now.
That's total revenue.
Oh,
Yeah,
He said, like,
170,000,
increase, total.
increase 170.
it's gonna increase 170 what?
Our
Thousand.
budgetary number.
Dollars?
170,000 increase in ad valorem.
170.
Yeah, 7,000 per meal.
Yeah,
So
times whatever our
times
mill
whatever
is.
the millage is, which is, let's say 25, I think it's where it's around.
26, yeah. I don't remember
26.
exactly what our mill is.
So it comes out to about 170, total 170,000.
So there's gonna be a tax increase of 170,000.
There's gonna be a revenue increase.
Your
definitely
revenue
tax
increase of 100.
Because the mill's going up, but, I
Right.
mean.
Yeah, that's a
value-
tax increase.
Yes.
The value of the mill.
Well, a lot of it, is new houses and this and that too.
I know, but everybody pays more.
I don't think so.
Oh, no? If the value of the mill goes up.
Yeah, unless the
just more
value of your
paying
home
into
went up,
Right.
but the value of your home has to go up.
If you if you're if you're using at 25% this year, yes. Every year, 25% of the county is reassessed. So every year, somebody's valuation of their house will increase, which your taxes will increase.
And that's
I
not,
understand that.
If you stay
and that's not
steady.
to say that,
That's a
Right.
tax increase,
Right.
though.
no,
I'm just pointing it out, that when the valuation of the mill goes up,
They
that's
pay-
a tax increase.
no.
Yes, it
We're
is.
not increasing. We're not
Not
increasing it, but
necessarily.
right.
They can revalue your house and the mill don't go up. The value of your house don't go up.
Am I paying more money?
No,
I'm not?
no.
The valuation does not go up. If our millage stays the same and your valuation stays the same, then your taxes stay the same.
That's
But
right,
If
but
your
he's
value
saying-
does
We
go
voted
up,
on the
He's saying-
valuation of the mill to go up. We did that 2 years ago. It's coming due again, right?
What?
every year, the mill does go up.
Yes, and so that's a tax increase.
No,
If you're paying more.
It's, some people may be, you won't say. If your value of your house doesn't go up, or you may not be reevaluated this year, and all.
But when is our next valuation?
Every,
we-
Every year they take
Every
an
year.
area, it's supposed to be
Yeah.
every 4 years, you're supposed to get reevaluated.
yeah. Every year, they do 25% of the county. And I don't know how,
Well, I understand
what
that.
that's what Kyle's asking, how,
But
when
what
would they
you got-
redo it?
But the valuation is countywide or citywide.
Well,
So if Bay St. Louis's value of the mill goes up,
That's just more that's built and all is what's increasing that value. More, like
that's
say,
right, and everybody pays more.
no,
No,
Really?
no.
no, because if you build a new house, how are you paying more if that person?
How many mills are
are
we assessed? 28 mills, 28?
26.75,
Somewhere in there.
26.75.
And each mill is worth what?
181,000 this year.
Okay, what was last year?
181. I say this year, last year,
What was last year?
Current existing.
current year.
Current year.
Current year we're in right now, the mill value is 181,000.
And what's this projected?
We're probably gonna use.
190?
Yeah,
So it's gone up.
But what,
By 9,000 a mill.
what the county's charging you for your taxes is not changing. What the county's collecting as a total changes, so the payout of the value of the mill goes up, but the charge of of the mill does not go up. That's the way
I don't know, Jimmy told me that's a tax increase, but y'all got y'all's own thing. So if the value of the mill goes up, then everybody pays more on their assessments. So,
I don't think so. But
well, you might wanna call them.
I got a spreadsheet.
I'm just pointing it
Running
out, that's
numbers.
all.
I think if we raise mills, it'd be a tax increase.
Yes.
If the valuation went up, or if the overall going up, you gotta figure they probably had 200 houses built in the city last year. So some of that money is gonna be for the 200 new houses that got on the tax roll this year.
oh,
to
that
make
wasn't
all
on the
mill work
tax
more.
roll at the beginning of last year.
Yeah, but the value the valuation of the mill don't stop at this block. It's city-wide, Josh.
Exactly.
So
And
the
that's-
value of the mill is gonna be like, say, 190 less whatever we don't take.
Yeah.
So it's spread out for everybody gets assessed the same amount, right?
No.
Yeah, because if you look at your tax
You're
bill
assessed on the
from
value of your
last
home.
year,
Exactly.
and then you look at your tax bill coming this year, it's gonna be higher.
Why?
Because the value of the mill went up, which means you pay more.
No. The value of the mill is based on his collections, but we'll talk to Jimmy about it. We'll see.
Good, I mean, yes, there's two ways to look at that.
Mhm.
That's why I got a formula somewhere on my computer that tells you exactly what each homeowner pays. As long as that millage number stays the same. So your.
Yeah, the
value-
millage is the
so your
same, but the
valuation-
cost of that mill
So your
is up.
valuation goes
So
from
you're
two
gonna
hundred
collect more money.
thousand to 250, and I'm charging you 26.75, and you're still at 200, you pay exactly the same amount of taxes every year. Until I change that 26.75, and your valuation changes. That's when you pay more
Doug,
taxes.
each mill's worth a certain dollar amount, and if it goes up $10,000,
But your
then that gets
value,
passed on to everybody.
the value has to increase with your property, and our millage has to increase for your taxes to go up.
All right.
I got a spreadsheet, and I got a formula that does that, but I just can't find it.
Millage increase or value increase.
Right.
Will affect
If
you.
The
value
millage
goes
increase
down-
is a tax increase, the
I-
value of the mill goes up, the taxpayers pay more.
All right, we can find that, we'll look at it.
Yeah.
Good question, I mean,
No,
good
I
question.
just-
Yep,
Just pointing it out.
all right. All right, administration, you able to present what y'all looking at?
Yeah, I'll just speak a couple seconds. You'll notice just a different format. I created a spreadsheet this year. Mainly Sissy's, has had some sickness in her family. And so her spreadsheet is extremely confusing with a lot of formulas and cells, and if you hit one wrong number, you're gonna screw the whole thing up. So I just said, I'm gonna start from scratch, so, kind of just built it out. It's a little simpler, I think, overall, but, the mayor asked us to do is basically, looking at police, basically, we did kind of across the board 3% on looking at the salary scale we had approved previously and just taking that salary scale, so based on position, using that and doing a 3% increase. The logic there is, in the last 2 years, we've done significant pay increases, with significant dollars amounts per hour, for police, including longevity pay. Same thing on fire, he did a 4% with them, just bumped them up a little bit. They had also had the longevity pay, added in, 2 years ago. I think we've done it now 2 years.
2 years, 22.
And then looking across the board, everybody else is looking at 5%, to get the conversation started. In Public Works, that too was held at 3%, because last year we did significant increases to get the minimum from 13 to 15 and boosted everybody else up. So you saw several dollar per hour, $2 per hour raises given last year for Public Works. Ronnie has requested some key positions, electrician, carpenter, some skilled labor kind of thing, and some, I think one of the supervisors, so a little bit higher that you'll probably see out there. That'll kind of get it started. That's kind of the logic behind the mayor's approach.
Hey, Doug, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you kinda get noisy.
All right, well, it's gonna get noisy. So here's the deal. What I want to hear with this is the fourth year I've been involved in the budget, and I think we've had across the board raises every year. So outside of the cost of living, because we all know the cost of living's gone up thanks to Biden's economy. That $1 will get you 70 cents what it did 5 years ago. So what other than the cost of living are we justifying bringing up some of these employees? And there's a disparity. We're bringing up some 3, some 5%. But this is the fourth year in a row we've done across the board raises. I want to hear specifics. We're looking at the finance department. What justifies bringing them up again 5%? Because they've gotten a 5% 3 years in a row now. So I want specific examples of what the nature of work of why we're bringing them up.
Each department besides these departments have been increased drastically in the last 2 years. They have been at that, whatever the cost of living was given, I don't remember the
I don't want to hear
exact.
cost of living. I want to hear because we're all getting, every taxpayer is getting nailed by the cost of living, but not every taxpayer is getting an annual adjustment of 5% every year. But we're giving it. So what outside of that are we justifying that?
And actually, you got some people with a 10% pay increase.
Yeah.
Why is that? And split over two parts of this budget,
It's still coming out, that's what he does.
10%?
So, are you looking at
What area?
general buildings?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that?
Building.
Y'all just
So
created
that's-
something new without?
No, this was in the budget last year, this,
Basically, that's just your facilities, so.
This is
including
what he's over.
Community centers, things like that, it's all up under there, it's not tied directly to a department. So it's spread, that's, Brian, he manages 8 to 10 people, Ronnie has asked for increase from him. He's one of our top 2 supervisors in that. And that's spread, again, half of it gets charged to Public Works, half gets charged to that general buildings department. That is a unique one. That was one we called out.
And I'm okay with that. If there's technical skills that warrant a higher increase, I'm all ears for that.
Yeah, that's kind of one thing I just was making some notes, right? The last 4 years, we've given pay raises. I think y'all had showed us last year, year before, each year what our pay raise was. And I know fire and police, we've had in the last couple years, we've given some comparisons across the coast, and about how we need to come up with our fire and police pay. And are we there yet?
no. As far as the rest of the coast?
Yeah, well, we're not gonna be top.
No.
We're gonna be bottom.
And
We're
no,
gonna be between-
and we're just as far behind now, even though we gave that brought us up off the bottom.
Okay,
We're still in the low part of those areas. The police is, with their longevity pay, is a little better off now.
Well, last 2 years, they've received close to 29% pay increase.
Right.
And now you want to add another 3% to that?
I think we have them in for 3.
I'd just like to see where we're at, right? So, 2022 patrolman was making 36,299. Pass was 33, Waveland was 38, Long Beach was 40, Gulfport was 42, right? So we went up last 2 years, 10%.
22.
22 was 36,299. So since then we went up 10%. So we went up another 3,000. So we're at 40,000. I'm sure everybody else has bumped up some as well.
Yeah.
But really where are we at? I mean, that's starting pay, that's the starting patrolman number one, patrol one, right? Where are we at as far as that? Did everybody else get 5% raise the last 2 years as well? Or are we comparable? I don't wanna be the top, I don't wanna be the bottom.
No,
I don't wanna
we'll never be the top.
I wanna maintain, yeah, we're not the second largest city in the state. Gulfport is, we'll never be the top, right?
Can't compete
But
with them,
we're
Gulfport, Biloxi.
about number, I don't know what we rank in the state, but along the coast, past Christian, Waveland, Long Beach, we should be competitive with them as well as Hancock County. That's our market, right? So being competitive, is fine, that's what we need to understand where we're at with these raises, according to other municipalities. And that, to me, yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
Sorry, Doug. I'm sorry to interrupt. So, and that's where I'd like to hear from the chief and see, because I spoke to him a couple weeks ago, and we are competitive from a rate of pay, but there's the intangibles that we're not going to compete with as the county. There's upward mobility that we just can't compete with as the county. There's some things that off-duty duties that they can do and make more money that we just can't do in the base. So those are the reasons. And again, we should be hearing from the chief and from these department heads of what we can do other than just throwing money at trying to retain our employees and our officers. But I don't think it's, again, speaking with the chief last couple of weeks ago, it's not so much the money. We're there. It's the upward mobility, the other areas that they can go into in the county, the off-duty responsibilities that they can make more money on. How can we do that in the Bay? Maybe not the SWAT team, all that, but, the off-duty aspect. They figured out in the county to do that, and if it's a liability issue, they figure it out. How can we do that to where the officers will stay?
Every one of our officers now, being shorthanded, has the opportunity to work almost every day they off. It's not off duty, but it is still all the overtime they want. We've adjusted the budget every year to accommodate shortness of officers, put it towards overtime to accommodate that. So,
But Mike, that's not the answer. It's the fact that we have open positions. When we don't have open positions, how do we keep our employees?
well,
Yeah,
that,
great, they get overtime.
we
but
will,
how do
we
keep
will
our
never have what the
officers?
county has. We, as far as positions goes, day positions, advancements as them, we're just like other small cities. We don't have what Gulfport has to offer, officers, 100 day jobs and 100 promotions and this and that and everything. And that's what we have. We have an administration, and we have patrol and CID, and that's what we have. And moving forward, so how do you keep them? You're exactly right. How do we keep them? Pay is a reason to stay sometimes. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes people's looking for those positions. It's not just in the police department, it's in other departments as well. It's in the real world out there. You get people that work shift work, gets tired of and leave, a $200,000, $100,000, $150,000 job to go to a day job because they just don't want to work shift work no more. So those things happen no matter what you pay them. But other departments, same thing with fire, they have opportunities for positions. Day positions, advancements, and this and that. We will never be able to offer what all these other ones do without totally increasing the overall budget on the amount of, people that's in that department.
If you would give me a second, I can speak a little bit towards that outside pay, I'm going to call it, about officers working detail work, okay? That's been a conversation, I know at least since I've gotten here and probably years before. When I was at one of our city clerk trainings, our insurance company, our liability insurance company asked, a room of 50, 75 people and said, do any of y'all have officers that work private detail, wearing a uniform, carrying your gun, using your car? And so raise the hands. And he said, if you do, don't do it.
Right.
He said, because of the liability. I was like, boom. I said, well, didn't know it was that, that kind of. And so I've taken a very, approach of, okay, I'm not going to make a recommendation to him or y'all on that until our insurance company signs off on it. So the chief and others have brought a contractor, kind of vendor that can do some of this outside work and manage it. So I got a copy of their contract, sent it to our insurance company, but basically that contract pushes still all the risk back to the city, but with them managing it. So we weren't the managers, but almost everything's pushing back. And they said, we see so many problems with it. They sent me a letter with the notes. We sent it back to that company and said, if y'all are willing to change your contract and have our insurance company review it again, it might be something we can look at. If not, the idea of possibly looking at, all right, well, since we're assuming the risk, then maybe we run it through our payroll. We run it through the city so that they can do this extra work to pick up extra time, and then people just pay through the city. But it would then go through payroll. It would, that way, a big piece was workers' comp. If they get injured out there, 1099 contractors are not covered by workers' comp. So they would be at risk. All the other benefits from being a police officer that the state has, if something happens out there on detail, they would be at risk. This is what our insurance company is telling us. So it doesn't, so we're being a lot more
Let's
conservative.
figure it out, though. We keep hearing no, the county can figure it out. How can we not?
How many, so I'm looking at my past HR stuff, but I forgot we changed systems back a couple months ago, so I can't go back. Last time I remember, we had like 4 or 5 openings in the police department. Have we lost more since then?
We gained a couple and lost a couple.
We're probably still 4 short.
I think
Because
that's what the number, 3 or 4.
And we were staffing up, right? And we staffed up
Yeah.
last year. So we actually have more officers on the streets today than we did last year, even though we're 4 short,
And we'll,
4 short.
yeah,
right? So we're better off than we were last year, even though we're 4 short.
we increased 4 positions.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're okay
So,
there.
so, people leave for different reasons.
Yeah, okay.
And we can, and again, we can say it's because county has this, county has that, and sometimes we just gotta look in the mirror and really figure out why they leaving.
Yeah, I mean, we got a brand new
Will
police
money
station.
money doesn't make everybody happy,
I mean, work environment, people, people, right? But right, we built a
And
new police station.
We're not the only one that sees it. We
police
lost 2 to the county. We'll probably gain some from the county.
Yeah.
It's been like that back and forth all along. Waveland lose some, Waveland will get them back, somebody else back. The past, long, everybody is short right now.
Yeah.
And they're going to where they can go anywhere they want to work.
Right,
There's not one department on this coast that I know of that's full.
right.
No, these salaries based on the new hour rate, or is it based on the current rate? These police officers.
Should be both in there.
You
They're
got a
both
column
in
that
there.
says current salary, current hourly rate, and
Well,
then a
what I'm looking
percentage,
at-
then a new hourly rate.
But they don't have, yeah, but
See-
they don't have
They're on the total.
the officers.
You see like the 2678, and new rate would be
Yeah, but they-
29. But that 3% doesn't just reflect that, the 3% of the 26. The
So-
2678, let's take the very first one. The third one, but the first hourly rate. That rate is at 2678. We're asking for a 3% raise of that,
So 26.75.
and that value to the right, that also includes incentive pay. Your longevity pay, I'm sorry, that includes your longevity pay. But the 3% pay increase is just of that salary, that hourly wage. The $2 or $2.50, whatever it is, how many years longevity that they get, that's also added into that new rate, cause you gotta account for that in the budget. But the 3% is based on
3%.
the hourly rate
on the
of the
second-
current hourly rate.
The second sergeant down, the second sergeant on the list goes from 2363 to 2484. That's 3% increase. Without
It might be in,
without any longevity.
Longevity.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the new annual salary for the sergeant
Actually, it makes
would be,
sense. Longevity.
what, 60,051. That's not his current, but that's the
No,
new one.
Yeah, that would be
That's
next
the
year's.
new.
That'd be
that
new.
would be his because of longevity pay.
So
included.
longevity pay
Is
is included in here
Yeah.
In
right
the
now?
new hourly rate.
in the new.
In the new hourly rate, okay.
think
3%
I think something's
is
wrong
not,
with
is
you.
only added to the base.
Yeah.
It's not added to
Not
longevity.
add to longevity.
Longevity stays at
80
50
cents
cents
on
per,
3%.
per year.
Yeah, but on here it's showing a $2 and something raise.
Yeah, this is showing a much higher
Yeah,
calculation.
so,
It should be 27.58 and it's showing 29.58 on
That's
But
the
that's what longevity pay.
see, but we're double bumping because we're bumping longevity pay, so,
So
Yeah.
the
that's-
3% is strictly added to the base pay for that position.
Well, what's the base pay is 2678
2678
times
currently.
3%?
times 3%.
Then how come you don't have a separate column taking that fund out?
Break it out separate.
Because
If you
next
want
year
that, I
when you
can
do
do
that,
that. Yeah.
it's gonna be the new base pay.
So what I have off to
No.
the side, Gary, just on my formula, I went and found out how many years of service that each of these have done and kind of put that in each of the cells next to it and then put, based on that, is it 50 cents, is it a dollar, is it $1.50, what's their longevity pay? And then added it to that base pay. So that way,
See
that
what
way
you're
y'all
doing.
see what their new that person's salary would be, but the base pay is only getting the 3% bump, not the longevity pay.
So, but
Understand that.
next year, I guess what Gary is asking, if I'm hearing it right, is 2678 goes up by 3%, let's say that goes to $27.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
It's
pull
80
that out.
Is that the new base pay for next
No,
year?
80 cents
Or-
to this would be your
Right.
your
Your
pay
3%.
raise next year.
I
Right,
mean,
So-
but what I'm saying is, does the base pay for next year go to 2958?
down 3%.
Or does it only 3% increase over
27.58.
No,
2678?
because that's,
But, so is the base next year 2678 still?
no, because that person would have,
Or-
they
or
got
goes up
$2.
Base pay
3%.
next year will be
goes up
27.58.
3%.
Goes up by 3% only,
Yeah.
and then, but they still getting their longevity pay, so it's not gonna be 2958 next year times.
That's gonna be their
No.
salary next
No,
year.
No.
it'll be
I know it'll be their
27.58.
salary, but that's
Yeah.
not their base rate.
Correct.
We need to break that.
I mean, I can put a column that shows base rate.
You're gonna have to
I
do
can
that.
do that. I
This
can
is
easily-
very
Just so-
confusing.
So
Yeah.
we can contrast.
This is not representative
Yeah.
of what we're doing running straight numbers.
This
So-
is representative of what they'll actually make in that
I wanted to
position.
show what their new
Right.
hourly rate was gonna be, but that includes
Okay.
the longevity
Ain't a
pay.
big deal.
Yeah.
But that's
If y'all want to
break
see
it
a column
out.
that just says.
Break it out.
Not a
That's
problem.
their new
column.
total pay rate, but it's not the new base rate.
No.
Okay.
That's
Because that
included in that.
250 max longevity pay will never see the increase to,
No, it's
it'll
meant to
always be
stay-
250.
The idea was it stays at
Never
50
see-
cents per
What is
year.
it,
Never
50
gets three-
50
There's
No
times
inflation on
5,
that.
and then fire is 30 times 5. I think
So-
theirs is 30.
So with that captain there, just with his pay, you add the 3% is 27.58, and then you got $2 more.
That's right.
Okay, and the $2 you're saying is the longevity.
She's got one more bump that person can make.
Next year won't be 2958.
And she was to leave tomorrow, and they brought somebody, Joe Blow, in from somewhere else to be captain,
It'll go back to that position.
they would go at
Base
that
pay.
27.58, that number.
Yeah, I just drop a new column in there and show the longevity pay, and
Not that you explained it, I understand it, but just doing math, I was confused
Gotcha.
for a minute.
Yeah.
that's that Common Core math.
Yeah,
Am I still teaching that?
the math wasn't math.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Do we need
Because not
to-
everybody gets longevity
Correct.
pay.
Correct.
Do we need to,
I can
with
show
the
another
current
column in there.
salary, do we need to fill in those all the way through? Just leave them blank like,
Under current salary, that's just people who are based on annual salary compared to an hourly pay.
okay? So it's all right just to leave them blank. I mean, we show the hourly rate and their,
Because they're paid based on
Salary.
production of per hour.
okay,
Whereas
If you look
Your
down at
chief
your
and your deputy
patrolman,
chief don't get overtime, that kind of thing.
if you look down at your patrolman, because those are a lot of new people that's not here for longevity pay yet, those would be the correct thing with no longevity pay. Their rate go from 22.57 to 23.25. And then I think up above, you probably got one that's maybe a sergeant or something with the same thing, maybe his correct pay or something.
you got a couple in there,
Yeah,
24, 25.
so you can, we have a lot of officers that's less than 2 years.
So a couple in there are getting that longevity pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. Our first one, I don't know, he's been here a long time.
Yeah.
So, I guess back to one of my questions, with our longevity pay, where we're paying officers, we're paying a patrol officer, with longevity pay, $26 an hour, $25 an hour. And they're able to get longevity pay, which was that 50 cents per, what is it, year?
50 a year after
Years.
starting the third year.
Okay,
So a top out for patrolman and topped out with all of its longevity pay and all would be 25.75.
okay,
That would be the top out that they can make if they here
Right.
8 years,
okay, all right,
7 years,
Which that's what our number one's making.
7 years.
yeah.
They,
I mean,
that would be their top out.
okay. Yeah, I mean, we do have to continue to, try to slow the revolving door around, but again, we thought when we built the new police station, it would help, and probably has helped some, but again, it doesn't matter. 24 years, we still have the revolving door trying to get policemen to stay, and nobody knows the answer.
Like I
Right.
said,
Well, why don't we talk, where's the department heads? I'd like to hear from the department heads, the chief, exactly what he's seeing. Can he come to this
what?
budget meeting?
we can get him to come.
Because I'd like to hear, I mean, again, opposed to just throwing money, which we've done a very generous increase the past couple of years. I want to hear from the chief and see what those intangibles are. Because I spoke to him a couple weeks ago, and it's not just the rate of pay, there's other things. And I know we spoke about we can't compete with Gulfport. I'm not trying to compete with them.
And
But the county, and I get there's mobility, but what other options do we have that we can help them to retain
And
instead
my-
of just throwing money?
I agree with what you're saying, Kyle. Only spot I disagree, not with you, just in general, is I think we're top heavy as a department. We got 15 people on the top of the line. That's really your day-to-day, your detectives, your this, your that. We got 15 patrol people. So most police departments, you was in one, Gary, you should have probably 2/3 patrol to 1/3 admin and internal people, I would think, compared to we running 50-50 just about on our payroll.
Chiefs and Indians.
So I don't wanna keep
Well,
making more lateral positions to fill and less boots on the ground.
Yeah. and
Is
we
my
can just-
concern.
Yeah, I get,
I
let's discuss
understand
how we
the-
can get there, yeah.
I understand we don't have the ability to do off-duty details because Russo's about in
And,
there.
and they're
And that
looking
is
at that,
a
you know.
thing that, I think,
But we get stuck with off-duty
Every other
detail in
city
the
does
county, Washington Pavilion, we get stuck with off-duty detail, and the taxpayers are paying for that.
or the
And that's
county.
supposed to be the county.
Or the county's having to come to all our community centers because by ordinance, if you serve alcohol, I think they gotta have a off-duty police person, so
Well, let's be
we can't even give
consistent.
our own officers in our own community centers right now.
But we gotta be
Rent 'em.
consistent. If that's the case there, it needs to be every county-owned area that they have, including the Washington Pavilion. So,
I mean, but yeah, that's the only thing. I don't wanna make a lot of lateral positions where we just, cause we keep the top ones full all the time if you look.
Oh, yeah.
Because
that's-
they
yeah.
the better hours, the better positions, the more
Again,
ranking.
you know,
But your patrolman that's actually doing a lot of the work day in, day out, we always having problems filling, and I just think we're stacked a little bit lopsided, in my opinion. And that's just me.
Right.
And I would like to see about the DOJ funds. If you haven't got DOJ funds, we discussed it 4 years, I'm ready to pull that position, if we haven't gotten any yet.
Yeah.
I mean, every year we keep asking for how much we're getting, and if that position could be
Yep.
somebody on the ground in the city, that better serve us patrolling our city.
So
That's our main goal, to protect the citizens of Bay St. Louis, is my objective.
so we have 5 sergeants. Are those on patrol sergeants? Or what?
yes. Yes.
Okay,
That's 5
Our,
shifts.
our 2 lieutenants does some patrolling, you know, they'll work nights, weekends, sometimes they'll fill in for sergeants as well. You know, one of the things that
Okay.
hadn't, you know, if we're gonna talk, we'll go ahead. You know, one of the things we haven't worked out well is the swing shift. You know, we sold it as, I feel like to the council and everybody, you know, to add some more, that would add more detail downtown and more on nights and everything, you know, and it, from those hours, it would add a 6th person on shift from whatever time it is, 2 to 2, you know. Not sure where we at with that situation, but it's not, you know, it's not,
Not seeing it.
again,
so we have 7 officers at night patrolling downtown Bay St. Louis. 7
Sometimes.
police cars.
7?
Patrol-
7.
Patrolling all of Bay St. Louis, but
yeah.
Got
So-
it, you know.
The sergeants will patrol, and so that's
But we're not
6
seeing-
per
And
shift with the
lieutenant- like I
sergeant
said, lieutenants
patrolling.
come in sometimes, you know, different things with,
Seven?
Seven,
on different events. You know, the county has been there before in some of those
right.
pictures I'm sure you've gotten with showing 7
Yep.
cars and all. So,
I understand, I mean, I understand.
oh yeah,
But I'm just, I know
It's good.
the premise is, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what the premise is.
But again,
if,
you know.
cause we staffed up to do that swing shift,
Yeah.
to have the presence, keep things under
And that's
control.
mostly on Thursday, Friday, Saturdays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but, and, you know, and it, so if the sergeants are actually patrol sergeants, like Josh was saying, you know, still are we balanced with, we got 3 detectives, you know, chief, police, deputy, captain, 2 lieutenants, and then 3 detectives,
Sure.
as far as the top end.
Well, if all of them are
that enough?
patrolling, them 5. would
Right,
make-
if we patrol, if those, you know, 5 truly are patrol, and, you know, if we are patrol sergeants, it helps.
Yeah.
Public safety, you know, it's what, 85% of our budget, some crazy number. Between fire and police, that's our personnel budget.
that's a lot.
85%, something like, some crazy number, right? And if you ask people, what do you wanna cut? I wanna cut fire and police, right? Well, what do you wanna cut? Right?
Yeah.
And that's the balance. But it is, you know, we have to be good stewards of the money, and
Yeah.
we can't be the top, we can't be the bottom, but we do have to be balanced, and we need to me, understand, to make sure, you know, I mean, what, 2 years ago, Moss Point went $5 an hour on their pay raise. You know, I'm like, we can't do that. But yeah, what are we, Moss Point, $2 an hour raise starting 22nd of June 22. They went up to $25 an hour starting pay for patrol, just to get people. We're that, well, one of our
Just
top
get
out
in the
people.
door.
Yeah, one of our topped out people now in patrol is at 25 now, right? So, it's, again, how do we balance the budget, from a personnel? Cause, you know, we stayed under $200,000 for our, budget, for our personnel budget there for a long time. Now we're at 220, 230. It's got that creep.
Where are we? So where are we at? And maybe I'm missing it. So based on this proposal, what is that gonna, on these raises, what is that increase dollar amount?
Total?
Yes.
And with that-
Why don't we, that should be, I mean, we need to know what that dollar amount is, what these proposed increases add to the budget.
Total budget's 9.4 million
with that-
for, payroll. 9.488.
But what is, with this
What's the
proposal,
increase from last year?
what's the increase? Yes, thank you, Gene. Because we keep hearing
What's the
that we don't have money, we all know we have these projects, and I keep hearing it both sides of the mouth, is that we don't have money for this, but we have money to give X amount, we should know it,
We
X
don't
amount
have
of
money
increase.
For what?
We don't have money, you know, we
Tell
don't
me
have
something
money
we
for,
don't have money for.
we don't have money to do these simple things. We don't have money
Like
for
what?
this. There was we always talk about the depot. Well, we don't have money to do that,
To do what?
to make the fixes that we need to do there. There's a new grant coming in.
50/50 grant we doing.
There's still more money out there, right, Risa? We got more money coming for potentially for the depot, but we don't have money
Exterior
for it.
stuff that it was for.
But we don't have money for it. So what I want to
No,
know is
no,
what is
no.
this
Let's-
dollar
wait,
amount?
Let's get something straight.
What is this dollar? First of all, answer my question. What the dollar
There's
amount
not-
is, or what this
there's nothing
increase
about
is?
not having money for the
Well-
depot project. The part that we're not doing is on hold, which is all the unloading ramp and all that they came in and did. This grant wasn't just to go do whatever you want to do. It was specifically for what it was to do.
Correct. Okay.
So you take that out, you take the lighting out that's out there, because they came in and put a temporary ramp and this and that. That's what that's for. That's why we're not using that whole grant now.
Well, let's talk about the
So-
projects though, the project list that we have.
Okay.
What do we have? $8-9 million worth, and we're talking about floating
More than that.
loans?
Yeah.
Floating loans, correct?
No, we don't have the $3.5 million to do roads from Zeta. We don't have $3.5 million to do.
We do
the
have road and
harbor.
bridge money, but I'm saying we have to
But
make, you have
that
to
road
make,
and bridge money hopefully may be used for, we're still trying to upgrade the roads from FEMA to where maybe they allow us to go in and pave them instead of the DBS.
you have to make concessions somewhere.
Yeah.
You have to make concessions somewhere. correct?
Fully understand.
And for the past 4 years, we've had increases.
So you don't want an increase?
I want to talk about it. First of all, I want to see what that dollar amount is. That should be on
You
here.
don't have that?
No.
Yeah, I think, you know, I got on my list to talk about, I think the projects is something we have to keep in mind this year. You know, cause we're blessed because we have a lot of grant money, but we're also cursed because we've got a lot of match. And I think that needs to be an integral part of our budget. We had a workshop and think we delineated or specified what projects we will fund and where they're funding from. But as far as in this budget as well, you know, if we can save a couple $100,000 here or there,
It all adds
to
up.
help match something there to be able to do it. To me, the matches is our biggest issue right now. As far as the Bay St. Louis city budget, I see our biggest hurdle is our matches on all our projects into the next 4 years. So how do we make sure we're doing our best on the salaries, keeping the people whole, but also making sure we're keeping ourselves solvent as far as having extra money to pay for these matches on a lot of these grants.
And administration's job is to give a justification of why we should be, as a council, approving these citywide increases. And there's a disparity, 3 to 5 to 10%. We need a justification of why, not just simply the cost of living. Everybody's getting hit by cost of living. Taxpayers are getting hit by cost of living. But why is this the 4th year in a row that we're doing citywide increases? I want justifications. I want to understand why.
Because most of our people are underpaid from other entities,
Are underpaid from what?
from other entities at these rates. Saying,
So
why
can
do
we
bring
justify
police
that?
up?
Can you give us some numbers of where we're underpaying our employees
We
compared to
have
other
brought
cities?
numbers numerous times.
I
Every
don't have
year
it for
we-
this budget.
Okay. You had it for last year.
For every
Right.
single department. I think you guys gave a breakout of the police department, but and I'm all for if it's a
And
technical
we gave
position.
fire, and we gave public works, we gave water from different entities.
Well, let's
we
get it
gave
again this year so we can evaluate
sewer.
year to year. It's a budget year to
We-
year.
we
We're not
can
going
get-
off of last year.
No, but if you don't match what they had last year, we're just as far behind as we was.
Compared to
No,
what?
but we can get that.
Yeah, let's get it. I mean, we just can't just blanketly say, yeah, we're gonna continue doing all these.
That's what this is. This wasn't nothing the past night. This is why we're here to talk about it. You know?
But if
Don't come in and say we don't have money for project and use that as
But
an
don't come in and
excuse.
give a half-ass report to where you don't even have the dollar amount to what
Yeah.
what these increases amount to.
Okay, I can accept that.
I mean, we could have had comparisons with this. I mean, y'all have plenty of time to do that.
And we just need to understand what the delta is, right? Cause it's, trying to pull up old stuff, but my numbers don't look right.
On the what, Doug?
I'm just trying to pull up old 2024 budget, payroll budget numbers, draft, cause it's telling me 7,947,047, but that can't be right, cause this is 9,000,048. I know it can't be
You might just be in
1.4.
in the general, that sounds
Yeah,
like the
okay,
general.
yeah, probably so. But
So, is this budget y'all working on gonna have ask for a millage increase?
Not planning on it.
Not
Want
planning
what?
on it. But that's my concern is that we continue to give increases and at some point in time that cost has to be passed down to taxpayers. And that's what I don't want to get into.
Fully understand.
That's my main
You given
concern.
a tax increase since we've been here?
This council?
Yeah.
The council? Yes, the value of the millage because the property value, yeah. The tax collector does not give tax increases. We do. And we 2 years ago had to
And
do
we
that.
also reduced at that time when it went up.
The valuation of the mill,
We reduced taxes that year.
but people are still impacted by it.
I
You can say
understand,
what you meant semantic wise, but people are still impacted
again-
because the property values, taxes increased.
If your value goes up in your property, you're gonna pay more. The value of the mill does not increase, we just had this. Value of the mill does not increase your taxes
But
automatically.
we're the ones that can.
It
that-
does.
It
but-
don't. It
But
don't.
we're the ones that assess that increase. The tax collector's office doesn't, and that's what they always say. We're the ones that have to do that.
That's right.
But I want to make sure we're not, again, we've got to position ourselves for the forward thinking and the future that we continue to have the cash flow to fund
So,
these
Kyle,
increases.
so what they said at the beginning of the meeting, I don't know if you're aware, the current, Jimmy says the valuation of mill is about 190,000 per mill. Okay, they're saying they're gonna figure a budget based on what number, Mike?
187?
87,
187.
187.
98% of that, yeah.
Last year was 170,
No,
181.
181.
181.
was Jimmy's number.
So that's 6,000 increase per mill at times 28 and a half. That's going to be additional revenues they're going to collect from taxpayers. That's going to be in this budget.
But your taxes may not go up. Just because that mill value went up, don't mean your taxes went up.
I'll check it in January.
So
I'm
we're,
telling you,
so we're looking at $680.
I read it every year.
get your rupee afloat.
$678,443.
With rum?
$678,443 increase in total personnel budget from 20. Well, I got the draft one. I don't know what the hell we finally made.
We'll bring that back. We'll
But
get that.
from the draft I have, it's telling me my draft budget last year was 8,810,126 total.
Doug, are you grabbing that from the, I'm gonna call it sissy spreadsheet, that big one?
I
Man,
keep more shit on this computer than.
Okay, but
And I-
that's what, I mean,
Yes,
that's the
yeah,
spreadsheet.
yeah, it's one of them.
It's like 8.8
there-
total
Yeah.
last year.
8.810,126.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's
so
almost
with
a
678,443.
One of the,
That's not right.
I just wanna make sure, one of the formulas that she has under certain departments, especially police,
Oh.
public works, things that have vacancies, there's almost a factor in there of a negative, if you hunt for it, there's a line item with a negative in it, it's reducing the total for vacancy.
But but you gotta look, we're paying
Mine
that
doesn't
money in
do that.
overtime. If we're down a vacancy, we're paying that for overtime.
Well, there's an overtime, there is an overtime line item in here as well, and she did too. But that,
Yeah, let's
that-
just get that number.
it's
Let's
almost
get that real.
factoring that in on the front end.
Right.
Just what I've given you here, again, I'm focusing more on the,
Correct. Yeah, let's just get
Person.
that number.
All right, so we're gonna
we can get
split,
that. And I can- but
we're gonna come back
That
with
could be the major,
the
when you're saying the
comparison.
variance,
we'll come back with
because
the
it's several
comparison.
100,000.
Yes. Okay.
Also,
We'll
Doug,
split fire and police to where longevity pay is not included
Yeah,
in the
right,
base,
do that.
show the base pay separate,
That's easy.
and then the
Right.
longevity pay on the side for each position that's there.
Yeah, okay.
Are we at, right now, currently with these officers, are we at $40,000 with them?
Where we wasn't.
What?
Currently, are they making an average, the patrol officers?
Yeah, the lowest is 22. Yeah, I mean, if that's full time at $22, that's well over.
You're at
40.
basically, based on the hours they work of 87.7.
Oh, they're way
for
over
2 weeks,
40, Doug.
They're at
I mean,
53,000 a year.
Right. Somebody threw out 40 earlier. That's what we were trying to figure out where.
So
that-
they're at, right now, currently, 53,000.
53.
No, that's
So
it.
if you go down, you
Before
just look at
benefit.
the last line on the police page,
Annual salary.
there's a vacancy for patrol officer.
Mm-hmm.
The base pay currently is 22.57.
For a
3%
certified officer.
increase would put them at 23.25 base pay. Multiply that out
Right.
times 52 weeks, and they're at
$53,000.
$53,002.
Right.
Maybe a little round.
Where'd the 40,000 come up?
Not sure.
also, I was noticing, are y'all increasing 3 positions in Public Works? Or is these unfilled positions that have already been approved?
Are you adding, Gary, what'd you say?
In Public Works, you have 3 vacancies plus an operator and drainage. So you got 4 vacancies right now.
Yes,
Yeah,
3
sure.
laborers and 1 drainage.
Yes?
Yeah.
So are these new lit positions?
No.
No, not
No.
filled.
We just lost 1 to utilities and 1 out the door. And should have 1 or 2 coming in.
Okay, so I still don't understand your field supervisor operator, and you got them penciled in for 80 hours. Another part of the budget, they're at 80 hours again. So why do you have the same person with 160 hours?
Is that the rate is split between 2, so currently he's making $21 an hour.
How come it's
So
split
it's
like this?
$10.50, because a big part of his job is watching over the facilities such as and the staff in them at the community centers and other buildings.
But why separate it out of Public Works?
Because they're charging it
This
just
little
to that
area
other
to-
department.
To show the true cost of that department. Remember how last year, I think we broke everything to where electricity, sewer, all that insurance to each department or each building? You know, we broke that out, and that's just breaking out the cost for our buildings to show a true cost of labor and all that goes into it day to day. You know what I'm saying? Trying to
But
get,
just move them into that position full-time.
well, he does, he runs these other crews too out of Public Works. He's the one that goes, that takes care of the inmates. We've been pretty fortunate with inmates every day. But he's the one that runs those, runs the, I guess the beautification part of Public Works, the trees and all that, debris, all that, the buildings. So he's working both departments, people. So just to show a true cost is, yeah, if we wanna get rid of the whole thing, put it all back under Public Works, we can do that. Yeah.
It just complicates it.
And you see the same thing with Ronnie. Ronnie's salary is split.
Yeah, I understand that one.
Yeah.
Utilities.
It's pretty much the same as that.
And one's in
Right.
Public Works, so I get it, to do it that
It's
way.
pretty much the same way reasoning as that is. Yeah. And,
If that's complicated, that's an easy change.
Well, but I think we
mean-
went there to try to get true cost.
right.
I think, was it part of
Well,
a,
that's what I'm saying.
Audit?
That's when we moved, yeah, part of the audit, try to show true cost. That's why we split anything from garbage to water and insurance and everything to each department, the fire department. You know, each building has its own cost and everything instead of just, like before insurance would come out, I think it was administration, whatever it was, that amount of money. So this is broke down to where each building, in each department, same thing with utilities, garbage, all that. Your cleaning supplies, same thing. It's just trying to show a true cost that the buildings cost, a true cost of what fire department costs are, the little things that goes with the police department, city hall, everything like that.
Yeah, I got that. I got it.
Then break that out. And we'll get some comparisons. I'll get comparisons tomorrow. Comparisons, break it out, those two departments with that. And then pay comparisons, payroll comparisons to other entities as well.
The total increase.
Yep.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
it.
the
I'm gonna
first
put a
one.
formula at the bottom.
Yeah, total increase.
all right, no increase payroll opens, break out longevity pay plus annual. All right, what else on spreadsheet? We gotta look at it, right? We just got it. Fortunately, I get a chance to
Like,
look
one
at it.
comment I'll just tell you on health insurance, remember last year, all of a sudden, we got like a 3-month credit. Then in December, for our renewal, they came back and basically gave us a permanent, I say permanent, 1 year, which was like a 35% reduction. When we budgeted last year, we used these numbers. So if you look at insurance for a single, it's 6,442. So I kept those same numbers. Because I talked to Gary and just said, what are you expecting for us with Blue Cross? And he said, Mike, he goes, every month right now, we're losing from our premiums versus our expenses, what we're costing Blue Cross, there's a gap. He goes, I expect they're gonna put us back. He goes, so don't just do a 10% increase off of your current rate. He goes, cause you'll be behind. So I just used basically what we used for budget last year, basically what was that full amount. So I just want y'all to be aware of that, chances are, when it comes to December, when that Blue Cross rate comes back, I think it's gonna jump back to where we were.
And that's what we have
And I'm-
budgeted now.
Yeah, I've held
Okay.
that.
Same,
You know.
yeah.
I'm not using what we're currently paying today,
Okay,
because I think it's a wrong, it's a good number, but it's a wrong number for a budget.
okay, sounds good. Yeah, so we need to dig into this and really understand it. Breaking out the longevity pay will help. How many openings? I was looking from the last HR report I got, and I really don't, prior to May. So we'd like to have a current HR report, openings. I don't know where those are at.
Everything?
Well, just understand, you know, what
Yeah, I'd
openings
like
we
that.
have, right?
The full name,
Right, cause like I
payroll
said,
of it.
we're four short in the police department, but we have more people than we did 2 years ago. Right, so, and understand what we're doing.
thought we were supposed to get that report at once a month.
Well, and it was going, and I think the new, when we changed over something, I
Yeah.
don't know, we just quit getting it, because we were in Granicus, and now I think with the new stuff, we're just not getting it, and just need to get with Jamie to find out
Yeah, Jamie.
where it's at, and maybe it's attaching it to it, but yes,
I
we're
wrote it.
pretty
Yeah,
good
we're
about,
supposed to get that report once a month.
right, getting it to us, and we just have, it's not in it's not in Unicode now, so we do need to get that to understand really what we.
Lost in the cloud.
Yeah. I know we had Public Works, we had budgeted it up to a third ditching crew. I think we're there, correct?
We're getting there.
With equipment.
We're getting there with people that can dig.
Okay.
I can dig.
We get, got an opening. So with that, you know, every time we think we're getting that third crew and all, we end up losing somebody for whatever reason.
All right, but that's budgeted, right? For a helper, a truck
Yeah.
driver, and a,
That's
Operative.
all, that was all taken care of last year.
okay, I thought that was budgeted.
Yeah. If you
And
go
equipment.
down,
I think we're good with equipment.
yeah, I think Ronnie's looking for a small one to go with utilities,
All right, let me look at
not
it.
one of the little
Must
mini,
miss that.
an in-between mini and a big excavator. You know, little track coat, just a, we got one that's real small and he wants to replace it with something a little bigger.
I still have problems with the disparity between the 3% and 5%. I'm throwing, let's take out
Yes.
police and fire, but, you know, when you're picking and choosing between departments of 3 and then 5, to me, that just creates a disparity in,
Little animosity, man.
yeah.
Well, You know, and look, this, you know, looking at this, essentially that's what we did the last few years,
We did it based on their income level. We did it based on their hourly rate.
the same thing.
But-
You-
So
You affect, if you
it's
give
not.
somebody a $3 raise and the other one gets a 3% raise,
no, we did it based on what their hourly amount was. If they're below a certain level, they got 5%. If they're above that, they got 3. Here, it's just kind of you're picking different departments.
We did some last year we did Public Works. We brought people that was making 12 something an hour to minimum of 15 in that department. We increased all of those more than what anybody else got a raise.
When we justified that based on the valuation and the bid
Okay.
we got back for the
2
contract.
years ago, we did police and fire. Police.
And
more so.
I'm not worried about we
But
know
what I'm
the
telling
disparity-
you is, if you listen, you're saying we don't do that, but we have done that the last 2 years.
outside of emergency services, we have not. Public Works is different. We did that for Public Works because we knew we had to bring
Public
them up
Works
based
is
on what the
emergency
bid we
service.
got back was. It was so much
You know,
lower.
It's declared as an emergency service too, at times. You know, so yeah, and I agree,
I just,
you know, but again, you know, it's just, and we'll come back, we'll bring numbers, you know.
Let me ask a question. Councilman pay can only get a raise when they're going out of their, out of term, right?
No.
Is that correct?
No, you have to vote it in now.
Right.
And it takes effect the following,
Next term.
The next term.
term.
I think we need to vote in, a raise for councilman. I mean, Doug's been here the longest. And, I think Harry Favre used to say, this is some lean green. Because when you look at it as a councilman, you basically put in a lot of time if you're gonna do it right. And, I don't mind, voting that in for the next term, you know, of councilman that's coming into office. Cause it's been the same.
I don't know if we've ever gotten a raise.
No, we didn't.
24 years, serving the people.
What
Yeah.
time did it make?
They make about the same thing though, about 16, huh?
Diamond's way less. It's like
Diamond, yeah.
$1,000 a month.
They don't have PERS though. I don't think Diamond has PERS.
Yeah, you don't wanna compare,
Caitlin, can
Those
you
two.
get
Why would
just
they
run the
make
city
5,000.
council between here and Gulfport?
5,000.
Alderman,
no
Waveland,
benefits.
Waveland, pass,
you
Long
said-
Beach. Pass Long Beach, pass Long Beach.
I think Diamond Head's gonna be your outsider, that our council was 5,000, no benefits.
Yeah,
And that- I wouldn't compare, it's not apples and apples.
But they still got a POA, don't have fire department, the
All-
council don't quite have the same.
I mean, Alderman's a different
Not
form.
everybody
I
would.
mean, Alderman has more
Twice a month.
responsibilities and duties than council form.
You
I look
say-
at it and see, I don't,
You say the alderman
though,
have more responsibility?
I think an important
administrative
comment from Mr. Reed, though, is if that's something, this would be the budget that y'all would probably wanna look
Right.
at that,
Mm-hmm.
compared to, probably otherwise it'd probably be another 4 years.
correct.
So, I mean, if that's something y'all want as a,
Just
well, y'all
look,
just
look at,
direct us, but-
throw a number out there, see where we're at.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Honestly, I mean,
Something I think we need to look at,
just see, make sure we're, where we're at. Yeah, I can't find it, Caitlin, I'm looking in the wrong place. What's super secret code or box do I need to check on July 2nd? Right, you're killing me.
Well, it goes-
So what's the private pack?
It's the same.
Okay, the keyhole packet? Alright, there I go, going down the keyhole, ain't doing nothing.
And if them 5 patrol sergeants, stand corrected, that puts us a little more balanced. If they have some patrol sergeants, that they a little more balanced than the police department.
Yeah.
I just want to say I
I
stand
just-
corrected.
Yeah, I didn't know, that's what we asked, good question. Right. All right, what else, administration, do they need to get us? And again, we need to look at that, Mr. Russo, if you can throw me this in a spreadsheet.
I'll send it Excel.
Look at it, understand where we're at, but $678,000 is a chunk of change.
Well, part of that, though, is
And again,
Correct
just
me if I'm
comment,
wrong.
if you're using that other subtotal or total from that other spreadsheet, she basically has the vacancy factor in there that's dropping the total cost.
Let's
Yeah.
just get the numbers and make it easy.
Yeah, just, like I said, just, what's the real numbers then? Again,
I couldn't
got
figure out how that,
2 or 3 different spreadsheets that I've
that number
kept
was
in my,
coming up with.
and I don't know exactly which
I didn't
one was
factor
the last one that we
Right.
adopted. Insurance rate, third ditching crew, again, I don't, until I really dig in here, and I'm sure there's nothing, no glaring surprises. Figure out what we got going.
get that comparison. All right.
What else, anything else?
No.
All right. Done?
Motion to spread the workshop notice of, July 11th, 2024 in the minutes.
Second.
Motion spread the workshop notice by Mr. Hoffman, second Mr. Reed, any discussion? Vote to motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned, Mr. Reed,
Second.
second Mr. Hoffman, all in favor?